No worries there. Fantastic. So, hello and welcome back to our series of Meet the Speaker, where we'll be interviewing members of our speaker lineup for Care Show Birmingham 2026 coming up in October. It's a chance to get to know the experts behind all the real insights, experience, and guidance that they'll be presenting at the upcoming show. I'm Molly, and today I'm joined by Steve, one of our incredible speakers for this year's event. So, first things first, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Steve. I'm Steve Gardner-Collins, and I'm Regional Marketing Manager for the Orders of St John's Care Trust. And my region at the moment is our South homes and our private collection homes, so dual role.
Perfect, thank you. And can you tell us a bit about your background and how it is that you got started in the care sector?
Yeah, so I started in hospitality many years ago, and like a journey of a career, you never know where it's going to take you. But from a professional background in managing hotel rooms, occupancy, advertising and marketing, and the world of print and how it changed to really online, being part of that transition, and the language shift that we had around how people buy hotel rooms back in the day when we all of a sudden went for what were they called, like vouchers. So we got into the voucher market, and that took over the sector by storm. And it meant that we had to become quite strategic on how we sold our rooms, a bit like an airline, fitting people in at different prices. Yeah. So COVID hit, lockdown, sector took a break, and during that time I rethought my career really. So just a journey out of COVID lockdown, coming back into hospitality and thinking I need a change, doing some research, and stumbled across a regional role that befits really my skill set, that's transferable into the sector, and then begins the journey of care home rooms and how you go about advertising them, marketing them, and thinking about sustainability and growth and leadership, all kind of within that position.
Fantastic. So you've had the out of sector experience that you've now brought into it. Fantastic. So what is the focus of your panel session at this year's conference, and why is it such an important topic at the moment?
Yeah, so our panel topic is around the subject of future. So what does the future of care look like? I posed the question a year ago about 2030, realizing that it's 2026 coming up at that time. And there's only 4 years to go. And what would care look like in 2030? Always seemed like a long-term strategic vision originally, when you look at it 10 years ahead. So I repositioned that question, and the answers around technology, AI came up. I know that some homes have adopted different technologies, different AI experiences now. So we are starting to see the sector almost prepare for 2030. But is the sector prepared for 2030, and what might that look like? And then repositioning that question 10 years ahead of that, thinking, well, what does it look like now? Have we really moved forward in the direction of what we thought 2030 might look like? And then what would 2040 maybe look like? And then how the sector delivers that within the context of how we care for somebody, because that's ultimately our job, is to care for a person, and how the future fits around that. So it's a really, really interesting topic to explore. It sets the scene of the conversation, the focus group, the session. It asks the question. It will not be able to answer it in definite in that one window, but we hopefully use it as an exercise to plant the seed of thought, get people's opinion on it, explore the conversation as it evolves, and then revisit it so we don't lose sight of it going forward.
No, exactly. I think it's going to be quite an engaging session. I think you'll get quite a lot of follow-up questions from it. Yeah, no, fantastic.
I think that's what lends to it more, is it is a Q&A from the start, because everyone will have a different opinion. Whenever we think of the future, we all have an opinion of what the future might look like, but what does that mean in the context of us in the job and the people that we care for living in the homes that we've got? And also then how we position the future of care. Is it within the care home setting? Is it at home for longer? How much technology do we take on, or what do we keep hold of most? I think that's another kind of powerful point, is what do we hold on to? We don't want to lose sight of all of the great things we do, but how do we move forward, retaining what we do great, but also with change?
Oh, absolutely. It's very forward facing, so I think that's brilliant.
Mm.
And what's one thing you hope attendees will take away from your session?
So I answered this like a double fold. So I thought, well, I
Mhm,
hope attendees leave with a sense of optimism, because I really hope
mhm,
that
mhm,
although sometimes when you think about the future, there will be highs and lows, and optimism
mm,
allows you to believe that it will only be good. So only good can come from the future. We all hope for that,
mhm,
don't we? And then
mhm,
looking at the possibilities. So it's not just about um, one-sided vision. It is an opportunity for growth.
mhm.
It's an opportunity for people in their jobs to evolve and train, and
Yeah,
that's always great
absolutely.
for people to have more opportunity in their careers. So it's the optimism of like a bright future, and the possibility of what that future can bring for people in their
Mhm,
jobs, and also for those that we care for, and the
mhm,
possibilities of how enhanced experiences make it better for the future based on all the new things that we can bring forward
mhm.
and kind of exercise within the homes.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's not one to miss then.
No.
Um, have there been any recent developments in or research in social care policy that you find particularly exciting?
Yeah, so I think the introduction of the modern service framework, where in a
Okay.
particular
Mhm,
area of frailty and dementia.
mhm,
So when you think about modern service, and that
mhm,
the word modern looks to the here, the now, and the future. So that lends very nicely to
mhm,
this kind of scoping exercise of 2030, 2040. And then the terminology of frailty, dementia, and then how that looks going into the future. So I've always got an eye on how things will develop, and when those frameworks bring forward an emphasis on prevention, early intervention, community based care, what
mhm,
does community look like in 2030, 2040? We've seen over the years distancing in communities, where kind of like the big society model that was kind of brought forward 20 years ago as maybe something we need to revisit.
mhm, mhm,
Do we know our neighbours? How well connected are we with the people that we live nearby, our families? Families are all over the world these days, as are friendship groups, and we rely a lot on online to keep in touch, whether that's through
massively.
like Teams or Zoom or WhatsApp, social media. So our connection to people isn't always face to face, hand on hand. When it
Mhm,
comes to care, care is about together and looking after somebody and actually physically being there. And
mhm,
there is always a place for connection online in a digital world, because without it, we would lose sight of connection altogether. But
mhm,
care brings it back to the person, the people, the human.
mhm,
And how do we look at a framework for the future that adopts change, technology, but still recognizes that there will be a growth in dementia?
mhm,
There'll be more people living for longer.
mhm,
There's then only so much we can do as a society to
mhm,
kind of look after one another. So
mhm.
I always keep an eye on modern service frameworks. That's obviously become something that's more relevant recently. And
No,
I think
absolutely.
to look at the future and what modern future framework might look like in the
Mm,
category of dementia in particular is a fascinating subject.
mhm.
It's just something, yeah, that I'm hot on at the moment.
No, that's fantastic. Brilliant. What's one misconception about social care that you often encounter in your role, and how do you go about addressing it?
So I think a misconception with social care is that there's almost this delivery of service, like the NHS, that's
Mhm,
free at the point of service.
mhm,
So when people think social care, they often think free. And that's often because the local authority might be involved, a social worker, or in general, when somebody is in crisis and needs help, we often turn to services that we can
mhm,
access. And we often think of it as all being free. So
mhm,
a misconception, I suppose, from a care home perspective, is that depending on your circumstances, particularly on the financial side, nothing is free, but it's
mhm,
only free at the point of when you reach certain situations with your finances. So
mhm,
when
mhm,
funds deplete, then services can become free. But
mhm,
until that point, everything's kind of paid for. And that includes daily life as well. I think, again,
mhm,
depending on the setup of your care home registration when you move in, your contract, not all homes are like an all-inclusive tea, coffee, lunch, breakfast, dinner. We think that it's a bit like an all-inclusive hotel, but not everything remains free even from that perspective. We still need weekly or monthly haircuts, all different services that kick in, whether that's physiotherapists and all different circumstances of daily life where not everything remains free. So a common misconception is that social care is free, and the reality is, in a lot of ways, it isn't, and it can't be in the future either. We know that budgets are getting cut more and more all the time. So with budget cuts, we become accountable for paying for the services that we need. So going into the future, that's the topic of this session, 2030, 2040. If you think long term, more people living longer, costing a lot more money, therefore who will foot the bills for lifestyle, be it either in a home, but also for all the services that you need alongside that, because your hair still grows and your toes need clipping and the physiotherapy to keep you mobile, all that still needs to be serviced. So the conversation's interesting going forward, but the misconception even now is that it's free, and it's not.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's that conversation piece around managing expectations, but also continuing to adapt the service to changing expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
No, definitely. Yeah. Okay. What do you enjoy most about working in the care sector?
I just love the fact that every day is different. We're all human, and it kind of dictates by the mood you wake up in, and often the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Life is so connected in a way these days that we have that connection to news, weather, around the world. So there's so many influences on us that we are in touch with, that I think my favourite part of being in the care sector is how it's equally impacted. And even in a quiet care home, there's still the big wide world impacts us, and therefore, as being all human, we're all working off each other. So it depends on our mood, what's happening outside. You only have to look up at the blue sky, it makes everyone feel happier. But a grey, cloudy day, doom and gloom, it can often present a different atmosphere. And I like the fact that it's the role in the sector is human based, and with that, it can be really, really varied. And what I thought I was doing today, even, I just haven't really got round to doing it yet. Not because there are priorities, but there are other exciting things that I've kind of just got caught up in, and you never know what the message is going to be next, whether it's via email or text or on like a Teams message, and your colleague says, can we just have a quick chat about this? And you're like, actually, I haven't even thought about that today, but it makes your day really interesting. So that's what I love about it, is I just never know what the next 5 minutes might look like.
No, fantastic. That's brilliant. Okay. Outside of work, how do you like to unwind, recharge? What's your favourite hobby at the moment?
So outside work, I'm actually a yoga teacher. So
fantastic.
It does, yeah, it's kind of like I reached out to it back in hospitality, where they're both care and hospitality are 24/7 operations. So you don't really ever feel like you switch off. There's always something going on every day of the week. And with that, I found, like over a decade ago, to go to yoga in particular, or to the gym, was a switch off. It was a way to unwind. And at that point, I needed to unwind. Now I have a better relationship with it, where it's a bit of a mix of teaching yoga, completely distracted for that hour, didn't even think about work for that hour, but also use the gym as a recharge. So on a few days of the week, I got into combat, got into body balance, body pump, going to spin. So off the back of kind of going to a yoga class, opened up my whole world to doing space. That then my children and as a family, we use the gym as a great space to all unwind or offload energy that we've got excess amounts of. You know what kids are like, they've got excess energy, you want to get rid of it. So that in itself has become like a bit of a world for us. But we're also National Trust members, so we exercise that opportunity to get out. We love being outside, really active. Again, usually doesn't even matter about the weather. The great thing about the National Trust is there's indoor outdoor activities. We love the summer because there's themed weekends. So if we're into Wind in the Willows last weekend, Beatrix Potter next weekend, we've got some Roman gladiator events this weekend. So just another great way to spend time with family. Love traveling, love teaching abroad. It was lovely to teach yoga out in the heat and the sun in India
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
Spain. So cultural experiences, love food, and being outdoors really. So that's all
Fantastic.
ways that unwind and recharge at the same time.
Absolutely. What a wonderful collection of passions. That's
Yeah,
lovely. Brilliant. Well, that's all of my questions for today. So thank you for answering them. As Steve mentioned, the panel session that he'll be running, Future Fit, What Should Care Look Like in 2024 and Are We Ready for It, will be on day 2 of the show. So that's Thursday, the 8th of October, in the keynote starting at 11:45. He'll be joined by Nadra Ahmed, Carolina Gerlich, Vic Rayner, and Martin Jones. Thank you so much for your time today, Steve. And I hope you're looking forward to Care Show as much as we are.
thank you, I am.
Brilliant. Woo, let's hit stop. There we go.